In the Envision software, event triggers are used to identify the customized parameters that you'd like to review within your flight operations. To create a new event trigger, simply click Add, and you can add in a name. We'll look at something very generic, such as excessive roll. This is identifying when we're banking over a certain number of degrees. We want to meet triggers that are all or any for a minimum of blank seconds. In this example, we'll say they need to be banking for at least 3 seconds. I can add in multiple conditions, but we'll start with something very simple. I select from my drop-down for the parameter I'd like to monitor. In this example, we're reviewing roll. And I want to know when it is greater than a low, medium, and high severity threshold of 45, 55, and 60 degrees. Now the Vision 1000 records data in both the positive and negative quadrants for a roll. But in this case, we don't really care if he's rolling to the left or to the right, which would be that positive and negative value. So we're going to select this absolute value checkbox. This is just going to measure the distance away from 0. We'll also enable the advanced features, which measures the amount of change in a parameter before it flags that event. In this case, I'm going to say I want to know when they're banking at these thresholds only when heading changes more than 20 degrees. If that were to occur, then you'll see this event listed in the flight. Click the Save button, and now you've just created your first event trigger. Let's go to the next level and make it a little more complicated. We'll add in a new event trigger. We'll call this one excessive pitch up on landing. And we want it to meet all of the conditions because we're going to build multiple conditions into this. And we'll say for at least 1 second. I want to identify when my pitch is greater than a certain threshold when I'm coming in for a landing. So pitch is greater than, we'll just give this a medium severity of 17 degrees. But I don't care if I'm flying at 5,000 feet and I'm pitching at 17 degrees. I want to know when I'm landing. So I'll add another condition. I'm going to give this an elevation. AGL is less than 50 feet. Well, do I care if he's taking off in pitching more than 17 degrees or only upon landing? If it's on landing phase, I'm going to build in another condition that says a vertical speed is less than negative 100. Now, how do you have a negative vertical speed? When you're climbing, your vertical speed is positive, and when you're descending, your vertical speed is negative. Well, why would I be less than a negative? Because negative 200, or let's say negative 500, is actually going to be a smaller number than negative 100. So you'll want to use a less than a negative number when you're in your vertical speed descent. And since we're using elevation, AGL, and vertical speed is derived from our GPS information, let's monitor that. This is going to flag an event anytime that the GPS is outside of our established accuracy threshold. In this case, we're going to say we need good GPS for both vertical and horizontal accuracy. The event will still occur and be flagged in the flight if you have poor GPS, but it will give you a warning flag, so you can take that into consideration when you're validating and invalidating that event. Click Save, and now we've built a more complex event trigger. You can continue adding event triggers until you've gotten a list that is appropriate for your operations on the parameters that you'd like to monitor. At any time, you can go into these event triggers and modify them by selecting the pencil icon and updating the values. So let's say instead of 45, that's just much too low. I want to change that to 50 degrees to be a low severity. Make that modification and click Save. Now I've just updated my event triggers.